everybody, and welcome to the Bob Stoops app. Brad McMullen along with Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops. It's finally here. Game week. Game number one of the Brent Venables era. And how excited are you for Coach Venables?
I can't wait. Just can't wait for football season. Number one, I think like everybody. Best time of the year. Great weekend for football. You got it on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Even Monday, I think Clemson plays. So I can't wait to watch Brent, Coach Venables, OU. I've got a ton of confidence in Brent, of course, and all his coaches. I've been at a lot of practices. I love the intensity, the toughness they've practiced with. It's been more physical than I can remember in a long time. It reminds me of my early years when we first got here, how physical the practices are in the spring as well as here through the summer. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
All right, before we get to the game predictions, we want to talk about some of the big headlines in college football right now. The Big 12 opening up TV negotiations, and according to CBS Sports, that means that you could see Texas and Oklahoma leave the Big 12 as early as next season. Your thoughts on that, Coach?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, in my opinion, and I'm not in any meetings, of course, but it just seems like if you're going to add these other four teams coming into the league, just get on with it. If they're going to come next year or whenever it is in 24, let's go. Let's just start rather than us and OU and Texas being in the middle of it and then gone in a year. It just seems like it'd be better for all parties, to just let's get on with it and move forward.
And being a marketing guy, I know it's got to be difficult if you're the Big 12 commissioner that every time that Oklahoma and Texas are playing in a Big 12 game, all they're talking about is the fact that Oklahoma and Texas will one day be members of the SEC.
That's what I mean. At some point, it's just good for everybody to move on and without penalties. And, business is business, and move on and get their TV contract in order, get their scheduling in order, and then move on down the road.
Yeah, look for an announcement possibly at the end of this football season. All right, Nebraska and Scott Frost. He did not have a good trip to Ireland last week.
Yeah, I hate that for him. I like Scott Frost a lot, and of course, all the respect in the world for Nebraska football being right here in Oklahoma. But tough loss for them. And Coach Fitzgerald and Northwestern are a good, solid football team all the time. They're always a tough team, and they got the better of them. And unfortunate because I think they had an 11-point lead at one point, and then lost another one-score game, which has been their, which has happened to them far too many times.
Yeah, over 30 losses for Scott Frost at Nebraska, 20 of them one-loss games. Crazy to believe that. But when looking at that game, they just had drop passes. I mean, I know people will go to that onside kick and talking about momentum, but you have open receivers and they drop passes, that kills you.
Yeah. Those one-score games is what you were saying, though. These one-score games, what happens, and I saw it last year watching them a lot, a turnover at the wrong time, a foolish penalty at the wrong time, drop balls at the wrong time. They just can't quite make the one or two plays that make the difference in those one-score games.
And I know that everyone wants to overreact after a game like that, saying, hey, Nebraska's not going to be any good this year. They have talent. They've got good players, and they can beat people.
Absolutely. They came in here a year ago, and it was all we can do to hold on and win. Another one-score game that we were able to hold on and win at the end.
All right, CFP board meeting to talk about expansion as early as next season, possibly as late as 26. We had this discussion a few months back. It's crazy to think that anybody would be against expansion because it means hundreds of millions, if not billions of new dollars in college football.
Yeah, when everyone's coming off the last couple of years through the pandemic and stadiums not full and people are getting used to not going to games, how can you afford not to collect another few $100 million? I don't get it. I didn't get it when they said they weren't going to expand. It just doesn't make any sense. And everybody's fighting, everybody's arguing more opportunity for all these other schools. Well, here it is. Plus, they're going to give you how many hundreds of millions of dollars? How do you say no to that? I had no idea. So fortunately, I think the powers that be have reconsidered and woke up a little bit and realized, hey, how do we leave all this money on the table when we're all, we all have so many programs to support? just do it and get on with it.
Yeah, and there's also discussion that the university presidents are considering taking away more or less the governance of college football and putting it maybe under like a CFP format. Thoughts on the NCAA not being in charge of college football?
I didn't know they were. So they haven't been for a long time. They'd say all they want. It's just not equal across the board for anybody, and they've done a horrible job overall of trying to govern any of it. And now, they've lost all control with NIL, with transfer and portals, and so I think it'd be the best thing to split away from anything the NCAA thinks they're controlling, and have some kind of board or some group that's in charge of the playoffs that run it, and where it's fair and equal for everybody.
A lot has truly changed. All right, let's dive now into the games. And we mentioned that some stadiums have been empty on Thursday night. There were a lot of stadiums that were empty. One stadium that will not be empty, though, is the Palace on the Prairie, Owen Field, on Saturday. Another sellout, selling out every single football game since your first game in 1999.
Yeah, it's a great crowd. We have, great support through the years. And like you said, since 99, it's been a sold-out stadium every time. And love it. The expansion's always been great. We've got a great stadium, great fans, a great product to support and follow, in our football team. So can't wait for Saturday. It'll be exciting, and I'm sure our crowd, will be loud, like we always need them to be.
Yeah, and something to note, Nebraska, the only other team that has sold out every game since 1999. And speaking of expansion, OU coming to the table, about $170 million new football facility coming down the pipe?
Well, I hope so. Brent, I've said it all along, Brent has a great vision for what he wants for this program. I think he's had a great model at Clemson and what they've been able to do over the last 10, 12 years. And, so hopefully between our leaders, Joe Castiglione on up to President Harris, and all the support in the community and in OU football, that we can get it done, because it is needed. Brent, again, has the right vision. And, with this move to the SEC, all these other programs have ratcheted it up. I think Florida just completed a $90 million facility that they just got into maybe a month ago. So, and the facility they were in ahead of that is only maybe 6 years old. So, everybody's moving, and we need to stay on top of our game to make sure that we're at the top of that league.
All right, let's go to predictions. Oklahoma favored by 30 points at home against UTEP. Coach, going with the Sooners?
I am. I just really feel strongly we're going to play really well. I believe we're ready. Again, I've got a ton of faith in the coaching staff and Coach Venables. And, the fact that UTEP just lost at home against North Texas, may be an indication, too, that maybe they're not quite as good as they were a year ago, even though they were a really good team a year ago.
Yeah, no disrespect to UTEP, obviously a bowl team a year ago, and no disrespect to North Texas, but this is Oklahoma, and they're going to hit you pretty hard.
I'm excited to see us. I think everybody's anxious to play. The players are, and believe we'll come out and play well.
All right, next game on the list, Oregon, Georgia. Georgia favored by 16 points. A lot of new faces on the Georgia sidelines, but a lot of talent in those shoulder pads.
Yeah, they're in the top 4 recruiting every single year, it seems like. And I just believe Georgia will be much too physical, more physical than Oregon. We believed that going into our game in the Alamo Bowl, that we were more physical overall to run the football, to control their run game, and to be more physical overall than they were, and that was the case. And I believe Georgia will be as well.
Yeah, I see the game close in the beginning, but I think you're going to see Georgia take complete control in the second half. All right, Cincinnati, Arkansas, 2 surprise teams from last year. Cincinnati went into the Final Four. Arkansas surprised a lot of people, including Texas A&M last year. Not going to be a surprise this year, as both are ranked. Arkansas a 7-point favorite.
Yeah, Sam Pittman's done a great job at Arkansas. Great year a year ago, and a lot of players back on that team. I believe Cincinnati's lost quite a few guys from a really excellent football team a year ago. And, Arkansas, just with the schedule they play overall, I believe it will be hard for Cincinnati to deal with overall.
Yeah.
I see Arkansas winning that.
I agree with you. Cincinnati's breaking in a new quarterback, and I feel like Arkansas has really added some key pieces, including Hazelwood from Oklahoma at the wide receiver position. All right, moving on. Utah favored by 3 at the Swamp in Florida. Florida's numbers are down scholarship-wise. If you actually look at the picture of the Florida Gators team, it seems like they have more coaches than they do players. And I'm not kidding. But Utah favored by 3 on the road at Florida.
That'll be interesting. I thought Utah was the best Pac-12 team I watched a year ago. And obviously, they won the championship, but just watching them play, getting ready for the Oregon game in the Alamo Bowl, watched a lot of Utah. And they were a physical, tough, hard-playing football team. I really liked them. So I could see them going down there to Florida and beating them by 3. Unsure just with the new coaching staff at Florida how that'll look. So that'll be interesting, just to see what it looks like. But Utah, if anyone can do it, it'd be them to go down there and win like that.
Yeah, consistency matters, especially in a big road game to start the season. All right, Notre Dame breaking in a new head football coach at Ohio State. Ohio State favored by a big 17 points in this top 5 matchup.
Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of Notre Dame, but Ohio State, I think offensively, with their quarterback, C.J. Stroud being back with experience, is going to really be special. They've got a great running back as well. An experienced offense, I think, will make a difference. I think Jim Knowles, their D coordinator at Ohio State, will make a big difference for Ohio State, where a year ago they were really poor on defense. And I think he'll have changed that, because they always have personnel. So I could see Ohio State beating Notre Dame pretty good. Again, some changes at Notre Dame overall, but with the new head coach, Marcus Freeman, he's an excellent coach. He'll do well, and I'm sure he has a lot of guys back, that are excited to play for him. But I just think Ohio State will have too much talent overall.
And Coach Freeman coaching against his alma mater. You did that when you coached against Iowa at Oklahoma in the bowl game. What kind of emotions will go in with that?
Yeah, there really isn't. Once you get on the football field, you're with whatever colors you're wearing, and you fight like crazy for them. So that'll be besides the point.
All right, other big game to watch, Florida State, LSU. LSU favored by 3 points. These are two teams where the expectation of the fan base is very, very high. They've had great tradition over the years, but they've been down recently. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Like you said, each team has had their struggles, and especially lately. And Brian Kelly now at LSU, what's that really going to look like, and how has that been received? And then Florida State, even though they've really struggled, will they get over the hump? And this is a big game to me for them, in my opinion. If they're going to ever get over the hump, they need to win this game. So, I really believe just LSU, the schedule they play, the players they recruit will be overall more physical than Florida State.
I agree.
And especially, too, with Brian Kelly and his attitude and the way he coaches, it'll surprise me that LSU doesn't play more physical and win that game.
Yeah, Brian Kelly may be a polarizing figure, but the stats show he's a winner. He wins at the highest level, and I feel LSU will have the advantage in this game. But I mean, you're talking about 4 years of disappointment at Florida State. If they don't turn it around now, it might be hot coming for the coaching staff.
And it's a tough game right off the bat for them. And again, if they're going to get it done, they need to come out and win this game. And if they don't, it will be a tough year.
All right, it's game week. So much fun. Remember, for videos anytime, just click on our video link. For Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops, I'm Brad McMullen. Enjoy all the games this weekend, everybody.